Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to my Thursday Q&A. Every Thursday I make these videos where I answer your questions. So drop me a question in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer everybody's questions next week. So I am down here in Cape Canaveral, Florida on the side of the highway, and this place is awesome. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my cable here. I'll stick them under the Buddha. Here, you can see the Buddha too. So it's getting really hot in Florida, and I think I'm going to be ready to take off pretty soon. It looks like it's supposed to be cooling down quite a bit, but it's like 80 and really humid today, and yesterday was 89 and kind of dry. I prefer the 89 and kind of dry. But let's get to it. So Tokata Evans asks, when you travel and apply for jobs, you let them know you won't be staying for long and that you're a traveler. Yes, always. I could probably get a job a lot easier if I didn't do that, but I like being honest. I don't want to screw anybody over, especially small businesses. If it was a big corporation, I probably wouldn't hesitate, but I don't like working for big corporations anyway, so I try not to apply for them if I don't have to. Brandon Johnson says, how much noise can you make without people outside the van hearing you? I conducted a highly scientific experiment, so roll clip. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to conduct this highly scientific experiment. And for our first round, I will scream for you as loud as I can outside of the van so you can hear how loud it is. So for the second phase of this highly scientific experiment, I will scream for you inside the van. So as you can hear, the scream is indeed louder when I'm outside of the van with the doors open. I do have the front windows cracked about yay much, and the roof fan vent is open and the fan is on, so that should silence the noise a little bit. So if you're attempting to take part in sexual interplay inside your van, make sure you're not around other people because you can still hear people. So now's a good time for you guys to give me a big thumbs up if you haven't, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of my madness. So next question comes from Vanishing Phoenix. He says, what kind of fridge do you have? I'm just kind of thinking because you said it cost you like $600. $600 for a mini fridge sounds crazy. I just picked up a 12-volt electric cooler from Walmart for about $100 and it works great for living in the van. So yeah, I was just wondering the price and perks with the one you got. Okay, I had the Coleman electric cooler, and what it does is it drops the temperature down about, I think it's like 10 to 20 degrees below the ambient temperature. So if it's 120 in the van, which it will be if you're parked under the sun on a hot day, that thing's only getting down to like 100, 110 or something. So it's really not keeping your food cold. The benefit of spending $600 on a real fridge, oh, plus that thing when I had it, it used way more electricity than this thing. It drained my battery like that, where this thing runs all the, well, not all the time because it turns itself on and off all the time. But it's always plugged in and always on, and it does not use nearly as much electricity as that Coleman powered cooler seemed to. The benefit of this, okay, yeah, it's $600 up front, but I'm able to store foods for a very long time in here, as long as you could in any refrigerator at home, so they last much, much, much longer. And that way I'm able to shop at grocery stores and cook my own food and have fresh fruits and vegetables that last for forever. And if I was still doing the meat thing, I could have meats that last for forever, especially they spoil really fast, and cheeses or whatever kind of food you're into. And I don't have to eat out as much. Even when I had the powered cooler, for one, it was smaller, and I couldn't use it as a freezer, and it only got so cold, and it heats up so much in the van when it's in the sun. This thing's already paid for itself like 5 or 10 times at least, probably. I'm pulling that number out of my butthole, but you know what I mean. Like, I've saved a ton of money with this fridge. It's the Dometic CF50. I have a video all about it. It should be popping up in the card section right now. Check out that video if you want to learn more. This is the best investment I have ever made. It's paid for itself, like I said, a bunch of times over. Next question comes from Mossy15. He says, I remember you saying that you are an introvert who has to recharge after spending too much time with people. Good memory. He says, I am the same way. I just have a handful of close friends. I also have a camper van, Dodge Explorer, ooh, very fancy, and plan on traveling within a year. I imagine that constantly being on the move would make it very difficult to get close to people, at least for me, but I can also see how it can force you out of your comfort zone. that being said, do you think your introversion has gotten better or worse since you started living in the van? Has the YouTube videos helped? Okay, first of all, there is no better or worse with introversion or extroversion. All that is the way that certain people get energy. Like for me, I get energy by being alone. It takes energy, it costs energy to spend time with other people. So there's nothing worse or better about that. That's just the way it is. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with being an introvert. That's the first thing you got to get through your head, man. Secondly, I have definitely gotten more outgoing since I've been on the road. It's funny how when I had a place and I was in town and I had friends and everything, ooh, pretty bird. It was like I didn't hang out with people as much, and it felt like it was available at all times. So I didn't feel like it was a treat like I do now. Now I feel like it's a treat to meet people, and I think that has to do with the God, man, what's the word for that? I don't know. I don't remember the word for it. But scarcity. It has to do with scarcity. When something isn't easily available all the time, we want it more. That's a natural human thing that we just automatically do. So, yeah, I've gotten more outgoing, and I think that it's easier to get closer to people now because I can be more authentic and genuine. One thing I realized is the old ideas of myself that other people reinforce. Like, everybody has their definition of who you are. And once I removed myself from being around people who defined me a certain way, I was free to be whoever I wanted. So I was free to be more myself. So now that I'm more myself because I've removed myself from everybody who was limiting me with their definitions, and that's just the way it is. It's not like they were doing it to hurt me or anything. It's just the way humans work. I've just been much more free to be myself. And since I'm able to be much more authentic and myself, I find it much easier to open up to people, and I think that me opening up to people easily makes them want to open up to me easier. So in that way, it's gotten much easier to connect with people in a deep, meaningful way. So next question comes from Jesse Kramer, and let's see, what's the question? The question is, what did you study at college? I switched degrees a bunch of times. I started with psychology and then went to HVAC. And then I went to philosophy, and then I went to music, and then I went to psychology, and then I went to philosophy, and then I went to psychology, and then I went back to music. And then I just stopped because I have like 2 terms left before my associates, and it's just not for me. Malta Pfeiffer, that sounds more German, Malta Pfeiffer. He did help me with the pronunciation here, but I feel like it should be Malta Pfeiffer. Are you from Germany? Your question is, do you suggest any books to read? Financial Independence, Becoming a Better Self, and so on. What helps you? The main one that helped me was Power Now by Eckhart Tolle. But also Tony Robbins' Ultimate Power. I read most of that. I don't know why I stopped. Oh, I wish I could get up and flip the camera right now, but I know if I do, that bird's going to disappear. I don't know, man. The tip of my like brain or whatever is not working today because it's hot. I don't really have any book suggestions except for the Tony Robbins. I love him, and Eckhart Tolle. As far as the other ones, who wrote The Rich Dad Poor Dad? I've watched videos of him. I haven't read the book yet, but his videos, he makes a lot of sense to me anyway. I'm more of a video person than the book person. It's really hard for me to read. I end up sitting there reading the same page like 10 times, and I still haven't gotten it because my brain, when I'm reading a sentence, it's going somewhere else, but it's still reading, so it's like, trying to focus. I got a little ADD, dude. It's really hard for me to read. Static Campervan says, on the mail question, have you looked into a virtual mailbox? I think that I am going to sign up with Traveling Mailbox, but there are several companies out there. Most give you a street address, not a P.O. box, and you can pick up which city you want to use as well. You know, I haven't looked into that much. I'm going to. I think I really am. I really don't know very much about it at all. I started to get into it, and then I got overwhelmed, and then I just stuck with the P.O. box thing in every town that I stop at for a while. But you can't get rushed delivery on packages at a P.O. box, and it's kind of expensive, and it's just a hassle to constantly stop and go, like open a P.O. box and close a P.O. box and all that. So I'm going to look into this more. Sorry I don't have much information about that. Live Simply says, being in Florida, now I'm wondering if you have any issues with mosquitoes coming into the van when you leave the windows open. Having lived there, I know it's hard to escape them, so I'm curious if you have netting up to help or if you've been lucky with no bugs yet. I have not had any many mosquitoes or no-see-ums come in the van. There's been a few, but usually it's just right at sunset time is when they're really around. But I haven't really had any problems, at least in Key West and where am I now? Cocoa area. But there was a few times in Ocala where they got, in the Ocala area in Central Florida, where they got in the van. It drove me insane, man, because sounds echo in here really loud. And so all I could hear all night was the bzzz, bzzz, bzzz going on. I couldn't sleep. Even with earplugs in, I could hear them. They were so loud. And every time they bit me, it was like, I was like smacking myself in the face and stuff, trying to kill them. I do have bug net. I just don't always use it. When I'm out, like when I'm stealth parking or whatever in parking lots, it's very unstealth. And I don't want to, I don't know. I feel like it's like disrespectful to use bug nets out in the open. At least mine, because mine are really ugly and tacky looking. For the most part, I've been lucky though. Ricky Boy says, great video. My question next week is, have you ever been punched out? No, but I did jiu-jitsu for quite a while, and I have been choked out a few times. I passed out a few times from that. That was an interesting. It actually makes you feel like you're kind of high, like right before you go out. It's kind of an interesting feeling. Tokata Sriracha or Skaran Evans, I'm not pronouncing your middle name right, at least. Sorry. Says, I have a self-admitted gambling problem. I just lost roughly 150 hours worth of work on a whim gambling, and it didn't hit me until it was all gone. Any advice? No. I don't have any advice because I don't have any experience with this, and I don't want to lead you down the wrong path. I can say, though, good for you for first of all, realizing that there's a problem, and second of all, looking for help and trying to find a way out and become a better person and do better with your life. That's awesome, man. A lot of people don't get to that point. So good for you, man. That shows some true insight and strength and character. Rock on. Definitely don't be too hard on yourself, man. I know that's gotta suck, man. That's gotta be so hard. You must be kicking yourself in the ass. But try to take it easy on yourself and love yourself, because that will give you confidence. And the more confidence you have, the less impulsive you will be. Maybe this isn't gonna like cure. I don't have any like quick cure for this issue or whatever, and I have no other background. I don't know if this is a common thing that you've been doing for years or whatever, but I tend to be kind of impulsive, especially with money sometimes. And one thing that's worked for me is every time I go to spend money, unless it's like for food or something, like or gas for my van or something, I make myself wait an hour. And if it's a big purchase, I make myself wait a day. If it's more than like a $50 or $100, and to me that's a big purchase because I'm living on little money with little spending, I make myself wait a day. So maybe develop some kind of plan like that. That might help you out. I don't know. But either way, props for you for realizing it's an issue and seeking some way to improve yourself. Keep looking for that answer, because I have realized within myself that the more you look for the answer, the more you strive to change and do better and be better, the easier it will be to find that answer and to practice it. So our next question comes from Urbanite73. He says, what are your top favorite 3 places to park at night? Definitely a secluded, beautiful place, camping, that's quiet and no bears and no people. I like to be like completely alone like that, especially in the wilderness. My next one would be a quiet back end of a parking lot where there's no traffic going by. And the reason why I sleep in parking lots is because every time a car goes by, it knocks my van, and there's no rhythm to it. It's not like being in a boat where there's a constant rhythm to it. Your body can like get in sync with it, and it feels good. It's really relaxing. It's like just every once in a while a car goes by and boom, my van rocks, and it wakes me up every single time. So street side is definitely my least favorite. And in busy parking lots is definitely my least favorite. But probably out in the wilderness by myself with no bears, no people, or back end of a parking lot that's quiet. Nobody disturb me, no threat of cops waking me up or anything. Ghost Wolf says, hey, I wanted to say hello. What's up, Ghost Wolf? I have been looking around for solar for my camper van and would like to know what size of solar I need for running a 12-volt TV, laptop and TV for my main PC, anything to help me understand the solar stuff. Okay, dude, what I need to know, or you need to know, how long you'll be running these things, how much power they take up, rated in amps, and that will get you much closer. But just based off of what I have, my setup and what I use, I think that like a 150 to 200 watt solar panel, a battery isolator, watch my video on that if you haven't seen it yet, and like probably like 150 to 200 amp hour battery bank would be like the minimum, and that would get you into the ballpark of where you want to be, and that should be sufficient. You're also going to want to run fans, you're going to want to run lights, so you're going to need more than that. And charging cell phones and stuff like that, batteries for whatever. Next question, I hope that gets you close to what you're looking for. With the missing information, I can't give you a straight-on answer. And there are mathematical formulas you can find for this stuff, but I don't math it. I just try it and see how it works and improve the system if I need to. So our last question comes from Pat33. He says, I'm currently a freshman in college and I don't think college is my path. I want to drop out and pursue the dream of living on the road, but I don't know how my family is going to react. Probably not good. What was your situation like when you first announced your plans, if you don't mind me asking? This is a tough one because, okay, first of all, I'm going to say I totally understand because I did the exact same thing. I stopped going to college because I didn't feel like it was for me, and I decided to live on the road instead. That's exactly what I did. My family, I just told them, and I did what I was going to do despite what they said, but they didn't really, they didn't protest it at all. They kind of thought it was cool, I guess, because I had already started on the motorcycle, and they had saw how that was a terrible idea, and how the van is much more doable, and they know I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. But for you, my advice, which you're probably not going to like because it's going to be very straightforward, but you're an adult, man. You gotta separate yourself from your family. You gotta fly away. You gotta be your own bird, man. You gotta find out who you are besides who your family and school and society tells who you are. One of the greatest things I ever did was separate from the coop and fly away and discover myself for myself, you know, and not really care what other people think. And that's been one of the greatest things I've ever done, and I think it's part of becoming a fully realized, complete, healthy individual is becoming yourself despite the pressures that others, especially friends and family and society, has on us, and figuring out who we are for ourselves. And I think the only way to do that is to really get away from our friends and family. Now, I don't know anything about your family. I don't know anything about you. This is totally generalized advice from just my particular point of view. So if you feel like I'm just full of crap, then that's okay. But that is my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for this week. If you haven't hit like yet, please do. Remember to subscribe for more. And let's safe. Woo!